I got this story. It's just nothing that weird, but it's just one of those ones that like it has my mind like really like I don't know what to make of it. And like I used to tell you all kinds of crazy stuff that happened to me. That stuff is so regular now that like I don't really even bring it up. And it even happens in front of other people like my dad and my friends and some of them just are like it's become the new norm. It's really freaky. Like, strangers who think they know me, who will get mad at me, and say weird things to me, things like that. Just weird incidences. But anyways, today I'm having a garage sale. And I had one last year also where I had, I have all this stereo equipment that I get for really good deals, which is a weird thing in itself. And I had a lot of people come over, and I couldn't just sell stereo stuff. So I had like some of my mom's older antiques that we still had, some dishware and things out of the garage. Almost none of my stereo stuff gets sold. And I have some really high-end stereo stuff. But it's an event like that where all of a sudden I'll have one of these people come by that'll like say something weird or like a messenger type thing. You know how you used to always say, it's so weird you say that. Anyways, these guys came like 3 times and they're locals and they were older. And he kept asking me what other jewelry I had and stuff like that. And it's kind of funny because I'm going to try to have the rest of the sale tomorrow. And I went to Goodwill and I bought one of those like giant freezer bags of like totally miscellaneous, like, lanyards that say like Little Susie and necklaces that are like, they're not gold or silver, but it's so funny. I'm like a little girl actually, going through these on a Saturday night, like, oh, that looks kind of cool. Look at this one. It's made out of jade. Anyways, but we started talking about the phenomenon of, because he was a collector of things. So like he collects Pebble Beach plates. Asked if I had any of those. And I'm like, isn't it funny how we have these incidents where we just have luck with certain things. For example, Wendy would always get the first parking spot at any place we went. Even on Christmas Eve, if you went to the mall with her, she would get the front parking spot. Like it was just a weird thing, right? So we're talking about that phenomenon. And so I bring up to them one of mine. There's 2 guys. And he's looking at these coins I have. They're really cool guys. And I say, the one that's hitting me the most, and it had hit me recently, is this incident where I'm finding keys everywhere. I have all these keys. And his buddy looks at him, and he's like, yeah, he knows all about that. And he starts telling me that, like, he has jars filled with keys. And I'm like, really? I go, what is it? What's going on with that? Because everyone else I talk to goes, I don't know what you're talking about. But it's funny. I actually had heard a connection with that regarding the Nation of Islam and Farrakhan, which is really, really unusual. And that, it's not a bad sign, it's a good sign, but you getting a key is a sign of approval. In other words, a sort of like diversity thing, like we know who you are, you have a key to our house type thing, some kind of code like that. It's not a bad thing, it's like a universal code. But I'm finding lots of keys, like they're laid out right in front of me when I walk down the street. It's not like I'm just finding my car key under a couch. That's not what I'm talking about. Like I'm finding them everywhere. And it's been about a month or so since I found a key, or that's one that wasn't mine. But he starts talking about it too, and how he's gotten like way more keys than I have. So they leave, and I'm outside, and it's kind of sunny, whatever. And I'm looking at my stereo stuff, and I have this one large bass speaker box. And for some reason, I look inside the air tube, which is kind of a weird thing to look into. Like it's really dark in there, like where the air comes out when the woofer hits. Makes with the woofer the bass sound, and what do you know? I see what appears to be the tip of a key, but it's on top of this like little rubber piece of something that's in there. I'm like, why is there even stuff in there? Did people put their trash in there? I bought it I got it from a real cool thrift store that was going into bankruptcy, and they were taking the stuff from the place when the lady knew I wanted the box. It's an expensive box. It's like electric and made out of like a heavy wood, and she's like, take what you want now, because they're taking it and they're not going to give it to me, so you can have whatever you want. So I tried to get this key out. It looks like a key at least. And I flipped the thing over so I started tilting the hole so the key comes out, and no key comes out. But what comes out is like this little rubber piece that has tape on it. And what it appears is like it's a little rubber piece of this rubber, but it was made so that a key could be put into it. Like it was a stash spot, but in a speaker box. It was a really weird spot for it because I couldn't reach it with my hand. I had to get a little clamp thing to get it. But the key was gone. Now, I don't know where it went because, it wasn't like it had all this room to move around in the speaker box where I saw it. But I got the little rubber piece out. So I'm walking away. I'm a good 5-10 feet away from the speaker box outside. All of a sudden, as loud as you can make it, as if someone threw the key. I hear this ching-ching-ching key inside the box, and I'm nowhere near the box. Like, my dad was in the house, and he saw me messing with it, and even he was like, what's up? I'm like, you didn't hear that in the house? Like, he's watching races. I'm like, what the fuck? So I go back, and all I do is look in the hole, and boom, right there is the fucking key. I'm like, whoa. And now these guys were just there. You could say they set me up, but no. They're older guys, and they didn't cause the key to go flying and ring like that. So I finally get the key out with a little, like, plier thing I have, and I look at it, and it's a key. So what? It's a key that says for Mazdas. It's for a Mazda car. Okay. An unusual one, but I get ones for all kinds of cars. I get ones for home locks. It's, that didn't really matter. And at one time, I thought, well, maybe it's for a certain specific Mazda. Maybe I'm going to get a car, right? I'm joking with my dad. So there's these other numbers written on there, which I think are just the markings of the key. I think it was a remade key. So on one side it says Mazda only. Then it has like X29 written like with L97 or something like that. And I decided to type in like key and then those numbers to see if it says, oh, this is for like a, Mazda so-and-so type car. Like if it's for a specific Mazda. And all of a sudden, all these top secret fucking codes and financial information of companies start coming up. And like I didn't even know what to make of it. And I showed it to my dad. I was sitting right next to him. He's like, that's very unusual. I mean, it wasn't even like a computer site. There wasn't even a website. It was like all of a sudden all these financial data plans came up. But that's not even my point. Are you finding keys? Because it is so bizarre. It was one of the weirdest things ever just to hear that key fall into that box when I wasn't even near it. And I had just gotten into a conversation with those two guys. And it's always at those events that I'll have these very unusual characters come by. I mean, this one was a real, like, it sounds corny, but a supernatural event. And do you have any answers on that? Or ask some of your peeps that I know you talk to quietly. What's up with that? Is it some kind of joke? But I don't think it is. I just don't know what to make of it. But it's interesting. I don't think it was Mazda by accident. And it's interesting because they say that, Archangel Michael in the Asian form of religion is Ahura Mazda. Ahura Mazda is the interpretation of Archangel Michael, so that's kind of weird. But I didn't get that vibe either. I just got the vibe it was a key that said Mazda on it. Even the number thing I don't think really was supposed to be anything financial, but it was weird that I would type that in. And it didn't even go to a website. It just starts printing out this company's taxes and their tax numbers. Like he gave all their private information. And I just typed the number into Google. It was really weird. So something's going on with the keys. But I wanted to know, of all people, you're the one I always ask. You hate that, I know, but you're the only one that I know knows or could know. So anyways, I'm throwing that your way. Happy Mother's Day. Love you. Bye.